So the shock doctrine is about how governments and big business take advantage of crises and disasters. They use the shock and the chaos, oh my God, to manipulate you and to push through policies that people otherwise would never accept. It's not just about controlling the narrative, controlling the media. It's about using the media to create panic, fear, chaos in the face of a natural disaster, to make big changes, government changes, before people can fight back. It's using shock and awe and confusion to get people to accept and agree to things that they otherwise would never. In Naomi Klein's book, she talks about this being an opportunistic thing. So when there is a natural disaster, capitalists and governments are ready to seize that as an opportunity to stoke the flames of chaos and disorder. My research is suggesting a lot of these crises were designed intentionally for this reason, to give them more power. Anytime that there's a disaster, they can convince you to give them more power. Oh, we have to have martial law now. You must all stay at home. In the book, Klein references the overthrowing of the Chilean president, Salvador Allende, in 1973, led to extreme free market conditions in Chile. Under the guidance of the Milton Friedman School of Economics from Chicago, they went in and took a hatchet to Chile's public services. In the 1990s, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Western-backed economists helped Russian leaders with rapid privatization. This created a handful of ultra-rich oligarchs, and millions of Russians fell into poverty. The chaos of the transition was used to strip away all of the public ownership. In 2003, after the US invaded Iraq illegally, the Iraqi economy was completely restructured to benefit Western corporations. Public industries were sold, foreign companies got massive contracts, and even the war itself was conducted through shock and awe. They used shock bombing, just raining fire on Iraqis. And Hurricane Katrina 2005 is another one that Naomi Klein references. I think I've covered this before. But after the hurricane devastated New Orleans, none of the public housing, public infrastructure, public schools were rebuilt. Private developers took over and put up luxury condominiums. The people of New Orleans have been permanently displaced. They never got their homes back after Katrina 20 years ago. And public schools were replaced with private charter schools. So working class black, often mostly black communities were pushed out of the area entirely. Beyond what's referenced in Klein's book, the COVID-19 pandemic was an opportunity for governments to increase surveillance, pass emergency laws that restricted the right to congregate or protest, and funnel massive amounts of public money into the private pharmaceutical industry. In the US, trillion-dollar relief packets were sent to large corporations, while emergency laws pushed over 100 million people into poverty. And then suddenly, a year later, COVID just goes away. Mainstream media stopped talking about it completely. It obviously hasn't gone away. We've been living with it since. Some of these crises are natural disasters. No one is suggesting the US government caused Hurricane Katrina. But when they see it happen, they no longer, as a government, rush in to help. They step back and allow chaos to fester, because that's more profitable for the private companies who bought their election campaigns. This is how neoliberal capitalism, exploitative, modern-day aggressive capitalism, is eroding the social fabric and destroying the habitability of our planet. And the worst part is, by this logic, there's no incentive for governments to slow down climate change, because they are going to get rich and more powerful every time there's a natural disaster.